What's going on and welcome to Joe's Geek Show, the video series where we talk comics. And before we get started, if you're new and like to support the channel, you can do so by hitting that like button, clicking that subscribe button, and sharing. And with that, yes, Superman 3. What can be said about this film that hasn't already been said? A type of movie that has gone on to become analyzed, dissected, and torn to shreds. A film that makes a lot of people go,
"Why are you the way that you are?"
However, despite that, this is still a movie I grew up watching and enjoying. Sure, as I've gotten older, I quickly realized that the film is not very good, but I have maintained a level of nostalgia for this movie. I actually do enjoy how weird the film can be at times, even though it's one of those movies that stepped away from that more superhero drama style to, well, Richard Pryor comedy. But if there is one thing about this movie that has always been there since my first viewing, scraping the back of my mind and in a way, introducing me to the concept of the nightmare, it's this scene. And for years, I have always wondered, what was it about this scene that stuck with me for so long? Why did it plague my dreams for such a long time? Even after multiple rewatches where I would go back and try to face my fears, it would often be the same. I'd sit patiently, watching the movie, feeling the usual, it's a Superman movie vibe. But then it happened, and my fears were realized once again. It would be years later, when the internet became more accessible, that I would begin to see the forums and articles discussing this one scene. And it was in that moment I realized I wasn't alone. And so a question that has just been plaguing the back of my mind for all these years has been, why is this scene so effective? This is a PG Superman Richard Pryor comedy film. It should not do this to me. But alas, I believe I have discovered the answer, and that is tone. Tone is the overall mood or atmosphere of a film. It can be serious, comedic, romantic, suspenseful, and more. The tone of a film is often conveyed through the use of music, lighting, camera angles, and performances of the actors. The tone is what sets our expectations for the movie moving forward. Superman 3, for the most part, is a comedy with some dramatic elements, mostly surrounding Superman. But even from the start of the movie, the tone is set by the intro credits being played over a slapstick comedy scene featuring pies in the face and mimes falling on gumballs. And for the majority of the movie, this is what we get, at least up until the point afterwards where Superman's been exposed to the man-made kryptonite and became his apathetic / evil self. Though I admit, that junkyard scene is actually pretty well done. And once the scene concludes, Superman does some heroics and then goes to confront Webster and his goons. It's then, after nearly succumbing to a kryptonite ray, that Richard Pryor tries to save Superman when the supercomputer hacks into the power supply and begins feeding itself. It has become self-aware and wants to live. And so apparently we have the secret origin to Superman vs. Terminator. And because the machine is indeed going haywire, this causes everyone to try and flee, Superman being the only one managing to escape. But Vera is caught in a beam and pulled into the machine. From there, we witness a horrific scene as Vera screams, at first in fear, and then in agony as her body is covered in metal and wires, her voice going from normal to metallic before she is silenced. When she awakens, we are zoomed in on her eye, which is now pale and white. The character of Vera is now gone, having been overwritten by the consciousness of the computer. The cyborg then emerges, its steps stilted and unnatural, attacking everyone it sees without remorse or pity.
And it absolutely will not stop until you are dead.
I often wonder what it would feel like to be pulled into something like a magnet as I begin to lose all motor function. My vision, clear as day, quickly blurs, as the memory of who I am is slowly overwritten until eventually I am no longer me. Would I remember the events once freed? Was Vera forced to endure the torture of almost killing her brother? Would a semblance of the computer's memory remain within her? Yeah, something about that is just utterly terrifying. And again, we just have this really quick whiplash in the tone because we were accustomed to getting this mostly comedy film, and then for a brief moment, it turns into almost like a David Cronenberg body horror film. Although it doesn't last very long, it is something that has continuously left an impact. There was even a time in my youth, probably when I was around, I'd say 6 or 7, where I even refused to watch Superman 3 just because I did not want to have to witness that robotic scene again. I think it also stands out because it's unexpected, because everything in the film prior had already set our expectations based on the tone of the film. So our guards were lowered, and thus, when we actually get to this scene, it had a bigger impact. And overall, Superman 3 is not a masterpiece and does a lot of things wrong. But for all of its faults, I will always remember this one scene, which is a brief moment of terror. Superman 3, the robotic scene. What did you think about the moment in this movie? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Please leave your comments in the comment section below.
And if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, share it with some friends, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and ring that notification bell for more comic book content. And if you're wondering what to watch next, consider one of these 2 videos. Alright, take care, have a great day, and as always, stay geeky.